My name is Rowan Caldwell. I'm 31 years old. I used to believe that if you stayed calm, if you stayed fair, stayed factual, nothing could really blindside you. That belief didn't survive Tuesday afternoon. I installed the Ring doorbell 3 months ago for boring reasons. Packages, missed deliveries, maybe the occasional porch pirate. I wanted proof that my house, the one I bought years before my relationship, was secure even when I wasn't home. I never imagined I'd end up using it to document betrayal. I've been with my boyfriend, Elliot Harper, for 2 years. We moved in together 8 months ago. My house, my mortgage. He contributes $600 a month to help with utilities and groceries. It worked, or at least I thought it did. Elliot works from home. Content creation, motivational videos, relationship advice, ironically. He has a following, not huge, but loyal. People who comment things like, "You're so emotionally mature," and "Your girlfriend is lucky." I believe them. My best friend, Daniel Wright, has been in my life since college. We survived bad roommates, worse jobs, and one ill-advised road trip that should have ended us. Last year, he proposed to his fiancée, Lena. Wedding in 2 months. Big church. 200 guests. I was supposed to stand beside him as his best woman. Everything was settled, stable, predictable. Then, during lunch at work, I opened the Ring app. Not because I was suspicious, because I was bored. 11:02 a.m. Elliot's car pulled into the driveway. Normal. 11:14 a.m. another car arrived. Lena's. I frowned, but didn't panic. They were friends. Close friends. Maybe she needed a break from wedding stress. I scrolled. 11:23 a.m. A black BMW pulled up. A man I didn't recognize stepped out. Late 20s. Confident. He didn't hesitate at the door. Elliot opened it. They hugged. Not a polite greeting. Not an introduction. The kind of hug that assumes familiarity. I sat there frozen, phone warm in my hand. At 12:15 p.m., the BMW left. At 12:21 p.m., Lena followed. Separately, I told myself not to jump to conclusions. But something had already shifted, and I didn't know it yet. But my house had stopped being a safe place long before I noticed. I didn't confront Elliot that day. That's the part people always ask about later. Why I didn't storm home. Why I didn't call. Why I didn't demand answers immediately. The truth is simpler and uglier. I needed to know whether what I'd seen was a fluke or a system. That night, Elliot climbed into bed beside me like nothing had happened. He scrolled through his phone, laughed at something, kissed my shoulder, and asked what I wanted to watch. I stared at the ceiling, cataloging every ordinary detail. The hum of the fan, the faint citrus smell of his shampoo, the way his foot brushed mine under the blanket. I slept maybe 2 hours. The next morning at work, I opened the Ring app again. Not just Tuesday, Monday, the Thursday before that, the week before. I stopped thinking in days and started thinking in patterns. It was always the same. Late morning, Elliot already home, Lena's car pulling in like she belonged there. 10 to 15 minutes later, the BMW. Sometimes they stayed 45 minutes, sometimes 90. They always left separately. And every single time, Elliot was there, opening the door, closing the door, making sure no one lingered. Hosting. That was the word that lodged in my throat. By Wednesday afternoon, I felt nauseous in a way that had nothing to do with shock and everything to do with recognition. This wasn't a secret slipping through cracks. This was a routine. 6 weeks minimum. 6 weeks of my home being used as a buffer for someone else's betrayal. I downloaded everything, every clip, every timestamp. I backed it up twice, once on my laptop, once to the cloud, because some part of me already understood that people like this didn't just lie. They rewrote reality when cornered. Wednesday night, Elliot mentioned Lena casually over dinner. "She's been stressed," he said. "Wedding stuff." I watched him chew, watched how easily the words came. I nodded. Yeah, that makes sense. Thursday morning, I told Elliot I'd be working from home. Meetings all day, headphones in. Please don't interrupt. "No problem," he said, cheerful as ever. At 11:27 a.m., he knocked on my office door. "Hey, babe," he said softly. "I'm running to Target. Need anything?" I smiled. "Nope, I'm good." I waited 30 seconds after the door closed before opening the Ring app. Elliot didn't leave. His car stayed parked in the driveway. Engine off. Windows cracked. At 11:44, Lena arrived. She didn't knock. She used a key I had never given her. My hands started shaking. At 11:52, the BMW arrived. Elliot didn't move. He stayed in his car, scrolling on his phone. eyes lifting every now and then, watching the street, watching for neighbors, watching for me. A lookout. The BMW left at 1:18. Lena followed at 1:23. At 1:31, Elliot came inside carrying nothing. Target was insane, he said later, stepping into my office. Didn't even bother. He kissed the top of my head, asked if I wanted lunch. The audacity sat between us like a third person. That night, I lay awake beside him again. And for the first time since I'd bought the house, it didn't feel like mine. It felt compromised. Not just by cheating, but by the ease with which he'd decided my boundaries didn't matter. By morning, I wasn't confused anymore. I was clear. And clarity, I was about to learn, is far more dangerous than anger. I called Daniel Thursday morning. "Can you meet me for lunch?" I asked. "Sure," he said. "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I lied. "I just need to show you something." We met at a diner halfway between our offices, the kind of place that refilled your coffee without asking and never rushed you out. I brought my laptop. Daniel noticed immediately. "That doesn't look casual," he said, trying to smile. I didn't answer. I just opened the screen and turned it toward him. The first clip played. Lena's car pulling into my driveway. Elliot opening the door. The hug. Daniel frowned, confused, not alarmed yet. Then the second clip. Then the third. Then the timestamp started stacking. He stopped talking. By the fifth video, his jaw had gone rigid. He leaned back in the booth like his body needed distance from the truth his brain was catching up to. "How long?" he asked finally. His voice sounded smaller than I'd ever heard it. 6 weeks that I can improve, I said. "Probably longer." "In your house," he said. "Yes." He kept watching. Didn't blink. Didn't interrupt. Just absorbed the pattern the same way I had. Slowly. Painfully. Irrevocably. "Does Elliot know?" he asked. "He's the one opening the door," I said. "He gave her a key." That did it. Daniel closed the laptop. "I'm calling off the wedding," he said. There was no drama in his voice, no theatrics, just resolution. "I don't blame you," I said quietly. He stood, dropped cash on the table without looking, and left his untouched lunch behind. I sat there for a long time after he was gone, staring at the dark screen of my laptop, knowing, without a single doubt, that my life was about to get much louder. When I got home that night, Elliot was in the kitchen, cooking, music playing, something garlicky in the pan. He looked up and smiled like everything was fine. "How was your day?" he asked. "Interesting," I said. "Had lunch with Daniel." He didn't pause. "Oh yeah? How's wedding stress treating him?" I showed him something from our Ring doorbell. The spoon slipped from Elliot's hand and clattered against the stove. He recovered quickly. Too quickly. "Oh," he said, "like package stuff?" Footage of Lena coming over, repeatedly, with her boyfriend. His shoulders stiffened. He didn't turn around. "I can explain," he said. "I'd love to hear it." He faced me then, eyes already searching for the angle that would work. He landed on defensive. "She needed somewhere safe," he said. "Her relationship is complicated. She's cheating on my best friend in my house." "It's not that simple." "It really is." He tried compassion next. "She's going through something. He doesn't appreciate her." "Then she should leave him," I said. "Not cheat on him 2 months before their wedding." "It's not cheating if—" "Stop!" My voice cut through the room. "There's no version of this where you're right." His face changed, hurt now, accusatory. "You told him?" he asked. "Yes." "You ruined everything," he said. "Do you know how much money—" "I saved him from marrying a cheater," I said. "You're welcome." He started crying then, real tears, loud ones. "Where is she supposed to go now?" he asked. I crossed my arms. "Wherever you're going." He froze. "What?" "Pack your things," I said. "You have until Sunday." "You're kicking me out?" "You helped someone cheat on my best friend in my house." "Yes." "I have rights." "You're not on the lease, not on the mortgage, not on the utilities." His tears stopped instantly. That was when I knew I'd done the right thing. Elliot didn't pack that night. He slept on the couch, sulking, phone glued to his hand, fingers flying, as if he could text his way out of consequences. I locked my bedroom door for the first time since he'd moved in. That alone told me everything I needed to know. Friday morning, the messages started. His sister, his mother, a woman I vaguely recognized as one of his longtime friends. All variations of the same theme. "You're being unfair. People make mistakes. You're overreacting. If you really loved him, you'd forgive him." I replied to none of them. I sent one message, copied and pasted, to anyone who reached out again. He helped someone cheat on my best friend in my house repeatedly. This is not up for debate. Then I blocked them. Elliot didn't speak to me all day. He slammed cabinets, took loud phone calls in the backyard. Let me hear him say things like, "She's lost her mind," and "I was just trying to help." Saturday morning, I woke up to my phone vibrating nonstop. Missed calls, unknown numbers, voicemails I didn't listen to. Daniel texted around noon. Thanks again. Wedding's officially canceled. She's at her parents'. You okay? I stared at the screen longer than necessary. I will be. Beer later? Always. Sunday arrived with a U-Haul. Elliot's sister supervised the packing like I was a criminal who needed monitoring. No one spoke to me. They loaded boxes, furniture, clothes. 3 hours of erasing his presence from my house. When it was done, Elliot stood in the driveway, hands shoved into his jacket pockets. You're making a huge mistake, he said. No, I said calmly. The mistake was thinking you were someone you're not. She's my friend, he said. Friends help each other. Friends don't help each other cheat, I said. That's being an accomplice. He scoffed. You'll be alone. I'd rather be alone than live in an affair hotel. They drove away. I changed the locks that afternoon. Every one of them. Even the spare situation. It cost me $280. Worth every cent. 1 week later, Elliot started calling again. Different numbers. Friends' phones. His sister's phone. We need to talk. You're being immature. You owe me a conversation. On Tuesday, he parked outside my house and sat there for an hour. I watched him through the Ring app like he was a stranger casing a place he no longer had access to. When he rang the bell, I answered through the speaker. What? I said. We need to talk face to face. No, we don't. I'm not leaving. Then you're trespassing, I said, and I'll call the police. You're being dramatic. You helped someone cheat on my best friend in my house for over a month, I said. I don't think I'm being dramatic enough. He sat there another 30 minutes before leaving. Wednesday, Daniel called. She messaged me, he said. Said you manipulated the footage, that you're controlling, that you were trying to break us up. I laughed, out loud. That's creative, I said. She also said you were abusive, he added, that she was protecting her. By letting her cheat in my living room, I said. How noble. I blocked her, he said. But she's telling people wild things. Let her, I said. Truth doesn't need PR. I didn't know it yet, but the worst lies were still coming. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Plain white envelope, no return address I recognized. Inside was a single page printed in an aggressive font, signed by a man who advertised affordable legal solutions on bus benches around town. Elliot was suing me. Illegal eviction, emotional distress, defamation, property damage. Total demanded 11,200. I didn't panic. I laughed. Once, sharp and disbelieving, then called my actual lawyer. The one who'd handled my house purchase years ago. The one who charged enough that he didn't need slogans. He listened, quietly, patiently. Then he laughed too. She wasn't on the lease? No. Mortgage? No. Utilities? No. And you gave notice? 3 days. In writing, he acknowledged it. She has nothing, he said. Truth is a defense against defamation, and feelings aren't damages. $200 later, my lawyer sent a response that essentially said, prove it. No reply ever came. But that wasn't the twist. The real one landed a week later, delivered by Daniel's voice on the phone, unsteady in a way I hadn't heard since the diner. Rowan, he said, you sitting down? I am now. The BMW guy, he said. He's married. My stomach dropped. Married, he continued. 3 years. Has a kid. I pressed my fingers into my knee. How do you know? His wife called me, Daniel said. Actually, she called you first. You didn't answer, so she found me. She called again that night. Her voice was calm, controlled, the kind of calm that comes from someone who's already done the crying. She told me everything. She'd known for months. She'd been gathering evidence quietly, strategically. The ring footage, timestamps, locations, was exactly what she needed. He told your ex he was married, she said. She didn't care, said it was safer that way. I closed my eyes. She also knew I was pregnant, the woman added, during some of those visits. I sat down on the kitchen floor. I sent her everything. Every clip, every backup, every timestamp. Then I watched the fallout. Elliot posted on social media about betrayal, about compassion, about how helping friends shouldn't be punished. The comments were sympathetic, until one stood out. Helping friends cheat isn't compassion, it's complicity, especially when the man you were facilitating has a pregnant wife at home. The comment disappeared 30 minutes later, but not before screenshots circulated. That night, my car was scratched, deep lines down the driver's side. The ring didn't catch it. Police report filed, nothing they could do. And still, somehow, I felt calmer than I had in weeks. Because the truth was finally doing what truth always does when left alone long enough. Expanding. 2 months after everything blew up, my life got quiet again. Not empty, quiet. The legal threats evaporated. Elliot's bus bench lawyer disappeared the moment my lawyer responded. The small claims case never materialized. The scratches on my car stopped after the police report. Insurance covered most of it. $500 deductible. Annoying, but survivable. 3 weeks ago, Elliot came back one last time. I saw him on the ring gap before he rang the bell. Same jacket, same posture. Like if he stood there long enough, I might remember the version of him that never really existed. "I want to apologize," he said through the speaker. "Okay," I replied. "Can we talk face to face?" "No. I've been in therapy," he said quickly. "I realize I was wrong. I want to make amends." "That's good," I said. "Do that somewhere else." "You're so cold," he said. "I'm done," I said, and ended the call. He stood there for a long minute, then left. I haven't heard from him since. Daniel is doing well. Better than well, actually. He started dating someone new, kind, normal, and blissfully uninterested in facilitating affairs. Low bar, but important. Lena tried to reach out to him once. He blocked her everywhere. She showed up at his place. He didn't answer the door. Last I heard, she's officially with the BMW guy now that his divorce is pending. Good luck to them. His wife sent me a thank you card. An actual card. She said the footage helped, wished me peace. The friend group split. Some believed Elliot's version of events. Some didn't. I stopped caring. Quality over quantity has a way of clarifying itself. I deep cleaned the house, replaced the couch, changed the Wi-Fi password, reset everything. The space feels like mine again. I've been on a few dates. Nothing serious. I'm not rushing. I don't need to fill silence anymore. I know the difference between quiet and loneliness now. Someone asked me recently if I regret telling Daniel, if I should have handled it privately, broken up quietly, avoided the mess. No. My best friend was about to marry someone who was cheating on him, using my house as the venue, and my boyfriend was facilitating it while smiling at me across the dinner table. That's not a secret you keep. People like to pretend exposing betrayal is worse than the betrayal itself. That loyalty means silence. That peace means pretending. It doesn't. Real loyalty is telling the truth even when it costs you. Even when it makes you the villain in someone else's story. Even when it blows up your life before it puts it back together. Elliot made his choices. Lena made hers. I didn't punish anyone. I just refused to participate, and that was enough.